So if I sign up as a customer, right, and like I am striking out, no woman wants to talk to me. I can't go on a date to save my life. What would you tell me? How do I improve? How do I get beautiful women interested in me?
So the two biggest steps for that basically were number one.
My name is Kevin David, and if you want real financial freedom for yourselves and for your loved ones today, then the time is now. And I will be there to help you every step of the way.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to another exciting episode of your favorite or soon-to-be favorite podcast, The Kevin David Experience. Today we have a very special guest, like always, which we're going to get to in a second. But big shout out to everybody who left us reviews on iTunes and the people who are checking out the podcast on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. You're awesome. We launched a new channel there, and we appreciate all of your guys' love and support. So today we have Greg Schwartz joining us. And Greg, the first question that we ask everyone on the channel and on the podcast is to describe your entrepreneurial journey all the way up until right now in 60 seconds or less.
All right. So I grew up with my dad being an entrepreneur and having some nice highs and some not so nice lows. And so because of that, I actually said I am never being an entrepreneur and worked for many years. And then because of COVID, basically said, I coach people with online dating, but video, Zoom, basically would be a really great way to solve a lot of problems that my clients run into.
Right.
Why don't I try making a dating app? And I said, all right, I guess I'm doing the entrepreneurship thing now.
I love it. And that was actually like a pretty good response. Sometimes I get like 10-minute long 60 seconds, and sometimes I get like 4-second long 60 seconds. So an online dating coach, that you were doing that pre-COVID. Was that your full-time occupation?
That was part-time. Actually, I did do it full-time for a while. So one of the challenges, and this is one of the things I was going to talk about today, is marketing is not a skill set that I have. And it's something I've worked to build, and I'm still not very good at it. So with my coaching, I spent a good amount of time doing it part-time, because I'm also what's called a user experience designer, as probably most of your audience is familiar with, and did that as my full-time thing. And then for 9 months, a year, I said, all right, I'm going to really just focus on this coaching thing, and was able to help people, but was not able to bring in enough clients to be able to survive. And so I finally just said, all right, I'm going back to, freelance UX is my sort of main thing, and dating coaching is my side thing.
How did you find clients? Like how did you find people that needed coaching? I'm just curious.
Word of mouth, almost completely. I did do events, mostly in person, because this is long before COVID. This was like 2016, 2018, I think, somewhere in there. And I would do events where it's like, okay, come, we're going to do some singles mixing, but we're also going to do lessons on like how to build a good profile and how to write good messages. And I would actually do some really fun exercises. It wasn't just like a lecture, but I'd do exercises where it would be, okay, ladies, I want you to go up and talk to this guy and just keep talking to him. I don't care what he does, keep talking to him. And I'd tell the guys, I'd give them secret instructions. And I'd be like, do anything but respond to her. Don't look at her, don't react, just kind of like, oh yeah, look at the clouds, that kind of thing. And do that. And the women by the end of that, like 60-second exercise would be like, oh my God, this is so annoying. Why are we doing this? I'd be like, congratulations. This is what men experience every day of online dating. Oh, and the guys are all going, yeah. And then we'd do it the other way, where we'd basically have the women come up and barrage these guys with terrible pickup lines and all kinds of stuff. And the guys just have to kind of try and respond, and the women are not listening at all. And again, the secret instructions thing came in handy for that. And then I'd be like, this is what women experience with online dating, where they're just getting horrible crap all day long. And the guys would be like, oh, and the women are going, yeah.
So if I sign up as a customer, right, and like I am striking out, no woman wants to talk to me, I can't go on a date to save my life, what would you tell me? How do I improve? How do I get beautiful women interested in me?
So the two biggest steps for that basically were, number one, taking the bad stuff out of your profile. So like I could spend hours talking about how to build good profiles, but photos of you with alcohol, photos of you with any kind of dead animal, so fish, deer, I don't care, just like take it out. And a lot of stuff like that, photos of you and your 13 best friends, photos of you where you're in, I don't know, Yosemite, you're in, the Tetons, wherever, and you're this big, and the landscape is huge. It's just like, I get that you're into being in the outdoors, but this photo does nothing.
Right.
And so a lot of those things. And then also, once you've done that, most of the time my clients would just start getting a lot more matches. It's funny if you have a good profile. But then the second thing is actually really figuring out what is the kind of man or woman you want in terms of quality. So not, she's blonde or he's 6 feet tall, but they're someone who's really interested in personal development, or they're really interested in rock climbing. That's a big thing in California. So, whatever the case may be. And then figuring out, okay, what are the pieces of me that are going to attract that kind of person? So a person who's really curious. Oh, well, I'm really interested in learning about science or about economics or whatever the case may be. How do I convey that? I'm regularly reading I'm regularly reading The Economist. That's a way to show that I'm a curious person who wants to learn things. But that's not something most people would write on their profile unless they go through the process of, oh, I want someone who's very interested in this kind of learning. Let me attract him or her.
So take better pictures, right? No dead animals, no shirtless selfies, no ridiculously zoomed out landscape pics, right? Once you do that and you put something reasonable in your bio, right?
Yeah.
What's the next step? Once you get a couple of these matches starting to trickle in, right? How do you get these people actually interested?
So a lot of that is your profile and your photos, and then the messages is really about just kind of having some communication back and forth. And one of the things that people often make as a mistake is they ask yes or no questions. It's like if you have me on this podcast and you're like, so Greg, what's your favorite color? And you're like, purple. And then there's that dead time. And you do that in a lot with online dating conversations where you're like, so what kind of music are you into? They're like, pop. And you're just like, okay, now I have to start the conversation all over again. Or maybe try and, drag out this response of like, oh, that's interesting. Who are your favorite artists? So you don't ask questions like that. You ask questions that are open-ended that ask particularly for a story. Like, I guess if you want to go with the music example, what is the most awesome concert you've ever been to? What's the story of that? And a person might just be like, I don't know,
Metallica.
Artist. Sure, Metallica. But hopefully, and most of the time, honestly, they will say something more than just the name. They'll be like, Metallica, because, there was this awesome, mosh pit, and I got a great shirt, and this other thing. And you're like, wow, okay, now I have things I can respond to. Why did you like the shirt, or whatever. So you try and have a conversation, and unfortunately, you need to lead that conversation with about 95% of people. And this is, by the way, across genders. So my female clients have the same challenge where they're like, they ask a question that's not open-ended and the guy just goes, Metallica. And they're like, oh, now what do I say? So you really have to lead the conversation.
What about people who would say with online dating, the first rule is be attractive and the second rule is don't be unattractive, right? I mean, for these beautiful women and beautiful men, right? Do they need help, or are they just getting flooded with so many messages just because of how they look that it just doesn't even matter?
So here's the interesting thing. They're getting flooded with lots of messages, but a lot of those messages, I'm not going to literally quote because some of them are pretty vulgar, but they're just not interesting.
Yeah.
And so part of what you're trying to do is stand out. Again, if you're a straight man, you're trying to stand out from the rest of the flood. And if you're an attractive woman who's not getting the matches you want, you're actually trying to filter. So you're trying to figure out what can I put in my profile that is going to turn off the wrong guys and is going to excite the guys that I actually want. So, that could be anything from I don't want a hookup, I want a long-term relationship. So maybe I'm going to talk about things like I look forward to having kids because I want to be able to go take them to this, vacation and build really, really amazing memories with them. Which a guy who's just like, I just want to hook up, I just want to find some cute hottie tonight, is not going to be as excited about thinking about kids. And, you do that on really as everyone. So straight men really actually do, once they get the terrible stuff out of their profile, they actually do want to be polarizing. Once they figured out what they want, which a lot of clients, they don't know what they want. And so it's like, okay, let's actually, kind of help you figure out, get your profile to a good level, and then start figuring out, what did you like about your past partners? What did you dislike about your past partners? What are you looking for? Now we can try and kind of get you there. And
What do you think about like the new form of dating? I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I'm pretty old, and like I've kind of experienced like the old school dating where like they called your parents' house and asked to talk to you. Like I don't know if you're as old as me, but I think we're similar
yes.
ages.
Oh, yes.
Versus now where it's like, you meet someone on whatever and you guys could hang out an hour later, and who knows what's going on. Like the hookup culture in today's day and age, like I think it makes it much more difficult to do some things. I mean, it makes it a lot easier to do some things too. But like, what do you think about the dichotomy of the days of old where people got married at 22, 23 with the kind of ideology that they were going to be staying with that person for the rest of their lives versus now where, you have 23 matches in a day?
So actually, a lot of that is why I've been building Couple Up, the dating app that I have, because with a lot of the way online dating apps are structured, either it allows or it even encourages you to get as many matches as you can. And that's really not a great experience for most people, even though they think it will be, because they get overwhelmed. So it's like there's a classic example of choice paralysis where you go into the grocery store and there are 30 varieties of peanut butter. And you have such a hard time figuring out what you want. And whatever you decide you're going to walk away with, you're less satisfied with it than if you went in and there are 5 and you just go, no, yes, ooh, great, walk away. And so with online dating, one of the big challenges is, especially as a very attractive woman, but honestly as anyone, you get overwhelmed with the number of matches and with the number of possibilities you can meet. Because, especially if you're using a swiping app, you could look at 100 profiles in a day. Excuse me. And in theory, that sounds great, but in practice, it's usually not a very good experience. So with Couple Up, there's 2 things that I'm doing different. Well, there's a lot of things, but 2 things relative to this. One is you're limited to 5 matches at a time. And so, you get 5 matches in one speed dating event, and you get another match in the next one. You have to let one of them go. So you've still only got 5 matches. And so that really encourages you, one, to actually focus on the people you're most interested in. But it also means those other 5 people are interested, because if they weren't, they'd unmatch you because they'd be more interested in this other person over here. The second thing, though, is it's speed dating events. It's not swiping. It's not, the classic Tinder description of you're doing it everywhere. You're doing it in class. You're doing it on the bus. You're doing it maybe in the bathroom. And it's just this pervasive thing throughout your day, possibly distracting you, possibly adding value to your life. It depends on how you use it. But with Couple Up, for now, it's once a week. And you come on, you get a nice outfit, you get some nice lighting, and then you go on 5 speed dates. And this is, Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And then the rest of the week, the only thing you're using the app for is messaging matches that you got. So there isn't that pervasive sort of attention sucking, like, there's new people on Tinder, you should come check them out.
Yeah. And so when you're starting a dating app, right? I mean, I imagine it's the same thing with a club as a dating app, right? If you get the girls there, the guys come, right? So do you just focus all of your attention on getting women to sign up, like assuming that men will follow, or how did you go about doing that when you first started the app?
So it's definitely a mix, because I have definitely had speed dating events, particularly when I was doing the early testing to like validate the concept, where one woman shows up and it's 5 dudes. And then I've had other ones where it's 5 women and 1 dude. And so it's about like creating that balance. But yes, definitely marketing much more to the women in my audience than the men. But I'm very much trying to have stuff that appeals to both. So I'm, not doing marketing that is uh, particularly a turnoff for men, but I am doing marketing that is more attractive, or at least is attractive more often to women. And
Right.
for me, I'm also taking a very different approach because Couple Up is about long-term relationships and it's about this slower dating. It's not as much about kind of the shopping or the fast food effect, depending on who you want to reference in terms of dating apps. So I'm actually focusing on people in their 30s and then early 40s as my launch group. And as I scale, I'm actually going to go into the late 40s, early 50s, 20 somethings. There are so many choices and you have so much still in your life giving you that sense of not only community, but also a steady stream of new people. And once you're in your 30s, as I would expect you don't have that steady stream of people anymore. Maybe you find social events, but it's not the same. And so that's really a big piece of what I'm really focusing on is I want to create this community that has a vibe of warmth as opposed to, one of the things that's interesting and frankly frustrating about the swiping apps, there's no sense of community. You don't feel any bond with the other people on the platform, whether they're, the gender you're interested or the gender you're a part of. You're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. You're just there. And with Couple Up, you join this sort of Zoom-like room and you see each other. You see other men, you see other women, and you're going to then get partnered for the speed dates with, the gender you're interested in. But it's very different than just, oh, I just see one person at a time and they're not live. They're, videos or photos or whatever. It's live. You see the other people. You hear them laugh. You hear all of that. And so it's much more like actually going to, a bar or a speed dating event or whatever the case may be, a party your friend's hosting. And ultimately, that's actually the vibe I really want to create is like you have your friend Greg who's hosting a get together at his place. He's got a bunch of people. They're all single. Come hang out. And, hopefully you're going to meet somebody you're like, ooh, I like you. Let's go on some more time. Let's chat some more.
I like that. And what about from like a monetization perspective? Like, have you thought about that? Are you just trying to get users? Like, how are you gonna make money from this thing?
So I am, again, taking the drastically opposite approach. There are two main approaches in online dating. The first one is like basically what all of the apps do, which is not everything. Most of the app is free, and we'll give you some upgrades if you pay us. The other one is the very older model, which is we will let you in and you can view profiles and you can send messages and you cannot do anything else without paying. So that's the Match, that's the eHarmony, that kind of thing. I'm actually going in the middle. So you get 2 weeks of using it for free, coming to these speed dating events, sending messages. And then if you want to attend speed dating events after that, you can either do, a la carte, attend one event and it's $9.99, or you can do a subscription and then attend as many as you want, and that's $24.99. And so the idea is basically, if you're just, kind of dipping your toe in the water of dating, you want to come, once a month, great, do it a la carte. But if you're actually really serious, and most of the people who are on the app are serious, they're not in the, oh, I guess dating would be nice. They're like, I want to find a partner. This is important to me. This is like a thing that I value in life is having a relationship. And again, that's part of the reason I'm targeting people who want a long-term relationship, not who are, hey, I'm traveling to DC this weekend. Who's cute and can tour me around? Or, yeah, I'm kind of bored. I guess I could go on some dates. Like, no, that's not the vibe that I want.
Or as we say in Miami, the girls who are looking for a yacht this weekend.
Yeah, or what was that? There was an article a couple years back about people who do dates just to get free food.
I'm sure.
I'm like, no, not that either. So, yeah, really trying to create that vibe.
The final question we ask everybody on the podcast is, if you could go back and talk to 18-year-old Greg, right? The young version of Greg, even though you're still young now, but you only had enough time to tell him one thing. And it could be about business, it could be about entrepreneurship, life, fulfillment, happiness, dating. It could be whatever you want, right? What would you tell him?
I'd fail more, but I'd try and find a way to say it that's a little more positive. But like, I have found in my life, I tend to be, partly because I have anxiety and I've struggled with depression for so long, I tend to be a perfectionist. And I also tend to be the kind of person who's like, I'm not sure I can do that, so I'm not going to try, or I'm going to only kind of tiptoe my way there and very carefully validate along the way. And that's good and bad, but I've definitely found that if I could take more risks, especially like small to medium risks, I'm not talking like really, crazy risks like bet everything on the craps table or, that stuff. No. But small, medium risks, those I'm not going to say have been the best decisions I've ever made, but I found that especially the small risks, a lot of the time are the ways that I end up either learning the fastest or growing the most, even when it fails. And so that's one of the things I'm really trying to internalize now is I'm feeling super anxious about, say, releasing this dating app. Okay, well, you can only learn by doing and possibly failing. So let's do it. And, it's been out for a couple weeks now, I think. And so it's like, okay, what else can I take risks on? What else can I try that I'm not sure is going to work?
I love that. And if people want to learn more about you or they want to learn more about Couple Up, how do they do that?
Yeah, so coupleupnow.com is the website. If they're on an iPhone, they can actually download the app, and it's easier to just go to the website and get it. If they want to follow us on social, facebook.com/coupleupnow. And we have an Instagram. I forget what it is, but it's linked from the website, so you can do that. And if you're not on iPhone, if you've got an Android, we're doing a wait list for that. And I guess I should also say, currently the app is only launched in the San Francisco Bay Area, but we're taking signups from everyone across the US because we're looking for the next place to launch. So say if Miami is like, this dating thing sounds cool. Like I like this video speed dating thing. Sign up. And as we get more people, we'll be able to say, okay, we're doing an event for Miami or we're doing an event for New York, or whatever the case may be.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining, Greg. You're going to get a new customer. I'm going to go check it out. And we wish you all the luck in the world, brother.
Thank you. Good chatting.
Appreciate your time.